A film directed by Kenneth Branagh, the director of Henry V, Dead Again or Hamlet, starring with an international casting: Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tom Hiddleston, Rene Russo and Anthony Hopkins. Third production of Marvel Studios. At first sight, Thor had the recipe for good entertainment, a nice casting, lot of special effects, dreaming costumes and scenery. However, for my part, the film is a disappointment. When Marvel Studios was created, we had the promise of better built and more faithful adaptation, and after an excellent Iron Man and a slightly more disappointing sequel, Marvel Studios thought again and sacrificed one of their stronger characters to bring out the huge 2012 project, The Avengers. A 2-hour film drags on a poorly constructed, two-line script written by the screenwriters of Fringe and Sarah Connor's Chronicles, based however on a G. Michael Straczynski arc, one of the writers of comics who helped the recreation of the characters and the myth of Thor. In addition to few jokes of the film which allow for a few seconds to forget the disaster of the almost invisible script, we seek the Viking mythical side and almost heroic fantasy of the universe, and here again it's hard. Some scenes of Asgard and Midgard increase level thanks to beautiful scenery, mixture between special effects and real. So it's too bad to have dashed the story of the universe of one of the richest characters in the Marvel universe. Regarding the casting, a good point for Anthony Hopkins, who perfectly interprets Odin, the king and father of Thor. Between grace and force he gives to his character content and present, which is not least. In the same way, there is Rene Russo, who was very discreet during the last few years, a nice comeback with her role as a mother. Natalie Portman also made her return in a kind of popcorn film, true to form. The problem is maybe her character is too poorly constructed and places her too quickly to the second plan, but after all, how to refuse to be well paid for a big production? Tom Hiddleston, the brother of Thor, Loki, even if we would have liked an older actor and maybe a little more bitter, welcome a well-identified role coming with a moving interpretation. As for Chris Hemsworth's first role, but far from being the first with good points in the film, despite an often imposing physical for the spectators and audience and for the characters of Daisy Lewis in the movie, the actor does just not enough to be an incredible god. He's maybe too young. Thor would have deserved a player, an actor with a little more experience and above all older. Once again, not a beautiful special effect, despite of a nice and brilliant director, but missed in his movement. On the 3D, true to form, is one angle a simple marketing point. We would have liked that the director Kenneth Branagh was a little more in this adaptation, despite of a photography voluntarily unjustified, simply with the first ambition to transcribe the comic book aspect, the comic book drawing. So it's a very mixed outcome critic review, but at the time when the comic book adaptation becomes almost rude, it's time as a comic book and cinema lover to propose and to express a new look, more critical to perhaps to slow down the rhythm of his mode and to offer beautiful pearls like Iron Man or The Dark Knight. And finally, when you talk about Marvel comic book adaptation, you also say the word surprise, so stay until the end of the credits. There is a surprise for you that might make us drool until May 2012.